Have you heard the one where I turned out of a crazy cat lady? Basically, this is about my pets. I didn't know. I'm like, what am I going to talk about today? And so I prayed about it, and this is what I got. So I'm as curious as you are to what may come out of this. So I've had pets, mostly cats, most of my life. And I'm sure Levi will be making an appearance at the end of this video, so just stay tuned. All my pets really circled and started and were compared to my first cat, which was Merlin. Merlin was this outdoor cat during my childhood when I was being raised by my grandparents. I mean, being outdoors, he was never allowed inside, but that was fine by me. So we would take on the world together. Like, this was my buddy, this was my friend, this was my protector. And, being an only child, being raised by my grandparents, they, would play games with me here and there. But for the most part, I was on my own outside with my cat. And I remember when I was, I guess I was like 6 or 7. And I remember coming home from gymnastics and looking at his little box that I made for him and being like, "Good night, Merlin, I love you." And having this feeling, like, I remember that he didn't come out and see me. He didn't come out and say goodbye, and he wasn't in there. And I remember the sadness, like no other animal could like compare to him. And so that was a really hard time for me. I could relate to animals. I could relate to cats. You know, was so stinking shy. Like, I couldn't really talk to humans. And I put all my trust and faith in animals. And so my aunt down the road, 2 doors down, had tons of animals. Like, she had rabbits, and I had a rabbit with lop ears, and she had, birds and mice or gerbils and blah, blah, blah. And a goat, yes. We'll talk about the goat another time. But it was escapism for us, I believe. We would take these rabbits to like shows, rabbit shows. I don't know. They won awards. But I feel like having these animals before I had kids was big. And there, yeah, you're coming over here and saying hello. I had dogs. I was like, in my past, I talked about being attacked by a dog, being saved by a dog. You gonna go back outside? Go ahead. We were in Texas, and I remember just these dogs were outside dogs. We never had inside dogs, and the ticks. We would have infestations, like just ticks. And I'm surprised I'm not dying from Lyme disease, but for the most part, I always had a tick on me, and I seem to be okay. My move to with When I moved in with Al and my mom, we got a few cats, but the one cat that stands out, she was tough as nails, was Prissy. She was an indoor outdoor cat. She would come and bring us like dead animals, and even at Christmas time, like when all the presents were like under the tree, she'd like leave us like a bird or a lizard. And she was just smart and wild, but she loved me. And she would enter the house somehow. Like, there was like, we didn't know how, like the indoor, outdoor, we didn't know how she was getting into the house. And then one time I was sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden, it was like a 1950s house, the one that had the poltergeist. Um, and like the wall had this like flap where the mail would come like out from the outside down and into the house. Well, she somehow figured out, I guess from the cold air coming through, that she could go through that little mail slot and down and open the door and come out into the house. It took us months to figure that out. And she was just one of those cats that was memorable. And she had kittens, and a lot of kittens. Like, we didn't get her like, spayed, but or neutered. I can't ever get that right. Bob Barker would have my head. But like, we she had kittens because she was an outdoor kitty. And I remember one time she had a litter, and it was early morning and I was supposed to go to school. But like I was laying in the bed, and your legs are parted. She had her babies in between my legs. So like I had to like move my leg over, and they were just adorable. And I had just woken up and I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. I gotta pee. So I am like, Prissy, I'll be right back. And so I went to go to the bathroom, and she starts bringing the kittens one by one because she's like, the heck am I going to do with all these cats? You have to help me. And I'm like, like peeing on the toilet, and here comes the kittens one by one. Prissy's bringing them to me like I'm supposed to do something with them. And I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. So I couldn't go to school that day. I had to help her raise her kittens, but they were cute. Like they grew up, and we gave some away, and some like were outdoor cats. I remember one lost part of its tail, and he became Skeletor because like you could see like his tailbone. It was disgusting. And then we had a couple of squirrely cats that just would roam the streets. Once I moved on my own and started to get more cats, and then I moved to New Jersey, I remember breaking up with Eric, and my girl Sharon from Johnny Rockets was like, you got to get yourself a cat. It's a breakup cat. And I'm like, yeah, I want a breakup cat. And that's when I got Sassy. And Sassy was my ride or die. She would jump up and ring a bell for treats. And I'm talking like as high as, me. So she would just, every once in a while you would hear a bell. My roommate hated it. It'd be like yelling at her, Sassy, shut up. But she was great. And I remember she even like tried, she was an indoor cat. And when we moved to Weehawken, she escaped, and Josh found her in an alley, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. She jumped out of the window, and I couldn't believe it. And he was actually there when she passed away of like heart failure, and that was really, really sad for me. I mean, she only liked me, so like Josh was probably okay with it, but it was really hard because her personality was a lot like my grandmother's, where it was like, I will love you and only you, and I'll give everybody else a hard time, but you're fine. After Sassy, Josh wanted a hairless cat, and that's when we got Buddy. Buddy was our first cat together. Hairless, little baby, and he got really sick. Now, I mean, opinions or not opinions, I don't know, but they gave him a rabies shot. And seeing that he was, hairless, you could see everything. So he got this bubble underneath the skin, and it was so horrible. And I don't even know why. This was before I knew anything about vaccines. I don't know why I let him do it, because like he's an indoor cat. What, is he gonna get rabies? Let's get real. And it went to his brain, and he died. And so like they tested him, and he also like had FIP, which is like kitty AIDS, which we'll go down that route another time. But the kitty AIDS like supposedly could be tracked back to the litter. So I called the litter person, and I was like, my cat died of FIP, because I didn't put two and two together that it was from the rabies shot until like later on in my life, where I was like, oh, that makes more sense. And well, she gave us a new cat, and that cat is Levi. So it was basically, hey, I got a cat. He's got tied to my other litter. So if you want him, you can have him. And I went there and I met him. He was 2 years old, and he would like do this flop thing, and he was like super cute. So I'm like, oh, I'll just take him. Why not? Oh my gosh, this cat is crazy. If anybody knows my cat, they know he's crazy. Like he can't stop eating. Like it's his thyroid, but I've done some things, and he like to help his thyroid. But he came from Russia. Like I don't think he was fed enough. I think he had to fight for his food. And so like he slobbers. Levi, come here. He slobbers, and yeah, I'm gonna show everybody you. He slobbers, but he purrs real nice. Oh, you're on my microphone, I'm sure. But this is Levi, and he is 14 years old. And I don't know how long he's gonna live, because I thought it would only be 10 years. But I love him anyways. You can hear him purring, I'm sure. But this is my life with animals. And I've had wonderful ones, and I've had weird ones, but I appreciate them nonetheless, because it's like when they pass away, it is so hard, and it's different. I mean, you don't have the same mourning experience. Like, you don't grieve the same way, because like with humans, you can like almost pretend they're on vacation, or like you haven't talked to them in a while. But like when it's an animal, they're there every second, and it's just painfully obvious that they're no longer with you. So I feel for people losing animals as well. It's like you can't have the anger, and you can't have the blame when you lose an animal. You just have a little heartache, and then you replace them. I'm just kidding. He's lovely. He's lovely. All right, well, that's my story about animals.